Well then, we're back. But where have we been and what have we been up to? Stay tuned to find out. Well, yeah, I'm back. It's been a while. The last video went out in May. So why no more since then? Well, there's been a number of reasons. Towards the end of May, I went to Wales with the wife. Now, it's mainly sightseeing, but you can't not go on a couple of Welsh railways while you're up there, can you? Now, one of the problems there was we turned up at Corris, and when we got there, although their webpage said it was open and trains were running, when we got there, they weren't. So I pulled in the car park, 4 other cars came in behind me, and there was a few of us standing around for about half an hour, 3/4 an hour, when we decided that there was nobody from the railway around, there was no trains running. Later I found out that it's the same as a lot of these heritage railways, including the one that I'm on, Leighton Buzzard, narrow gauge railway. We suffer from trying to get volunteers in at times to run the different functions. Now, we're quite lucky at Leighton Buzzard, we do manage to run all our trains. But on that day, Corris couldn't. So, no problem, we went up to Fairbourne and went on that one instead. But I missed out on Corris, so I wasn't too happy about that. Always wanted to go on there. So, little pleading session with the wife, and I managed to get a 4-day pass that included 2 days journey, 1 day up there, 1 day back. But while I was up there, you can't not take advantage of the situation. So not only did I do Corris, I managed to fit another 3 or 4 railways in at the same time. So that's time, and obviously we've had our summer holiday and we've had weekends away and other bits and pieces. I have been working on the railway. The plan was to get all the track down, get all the electrics in, and then move on to the scenery. Track laying was fairly straightforward. Electrics, all the wires are in, all connected back to the DR4018, is it? The detection units from DigiKeys. But I had problems. I realised that I'd wired some stuff wrong. I couldn't get some of the DigiKeys units to initially address the different ports to tie up with the bits of track they were linked with. I've done that now, but it was a problem. But I don't know about this stuff, and I'm learning all the time. And as I say, when I looked at it, I realised that I'd wired up some of it wrong. So I thought, well, the wires that I've used are now too short because they've gone to the wrong places. I'll cut those out and relay the wires. I cut through some of the wrong wires, so I've had to redo those as well. 1 or 2 of them I've still got to do, but what it was, I've just got so bogged down in those electrics. I was in here every day for about 4 weeks, and it was just driving me mad. So I lost a bit of interest. The old mojo went. So over Christmas we had a thought, and my plan last year was to get all the electrics in and the track in before I started any scenery work. Well, the track's in, the electrics are in, it's not quite working, but I thought I'm not going to get bogged down again. I want to move the railway along, I want to keep the interest going. So we are going to start the scenery, and I don't know if you can catch it in the corner of the lens here, but we are have actually made a start. We'll get onto that in a minute. Another new thing in the railway shed is I've got a new sign, courtesy of my son, and it's just behind me. Now, before I get any comments coming up, there is only one father or one dad involved in this railway shed. Okay, so for the eagle eye of you, you'll know what I'm talking about. My son probably won't spot it, but I'll explain that to him later. I was so pleased with this. My son, when he does buy us presents, they are so thoughtful. A lot of thought is put in. He ain't got a lot of money, so I'll be quite happy with the card, but he does make the effort. So yeah, well done, James, thank you for that. I've got it in pride of place, as you can see, and not only that, but it's keeping the cables all nicely tied up, so it's a bit of a cable tie as well. Right, enough waffling. I'm going to show you what I'm doing and what I'm up to. Just before we get onto the scenery, I had a thought. Now, I had mentioned that I'd gone to Wales and I'd visited a number of railways, and I think it was about 8 in the end. But what I thought might be nice is to have a little just for fun quiz. So if you stay with me to the end of the video, I've put this little quiz together, and all I've done is taken one shot or one video clip from each of the railways I've visited. I've numbered them all, and I thought if you take a look at those, then you could put in the comments below which railways you think they are. Now, I'm sure most of you will get them right anyway, but I thought just to add a little bit more fun, most of the clips have a locomotive in it. And so if you can put which railway it is and what's the locomotive, yeah, as I say, just for fun, and we'll take a look at it on the next video. Anyway, back to the scenery. Right, this might look a bit of a mess and a bit of a tangle at the moment, but I've just been trying to put some cardboard formers up just to get an idea of how this is going to pan out. Now, I did do some where these hills kind of came this way all the way down and formed a valley for the trains to run at the bottom of the valley. Then it would scoop up and then come back up the other side. Now, the only problem with that is I have a bit of a valley on this side, so we're looking down at the trains here. We've got a view across from one side of the river to the other, if I can just avoid that bit of timber that's in the way. So we've got nice shots coming there of the trains coming round the courses. But I thought if we've got another one this side where we've got another hill coming down, it's a bit similar. So what I've thought about is extending this hill here and bending it round, but also coming down and then back up, and then where this piece of cardboard is here, that will be like an embankment, but only a very shallow one, that bring this curve up a bit. And then what that gives me, and if I can come down, it will give me that shot there of the trains, and this is the track that I'm touching at the moment. So it'll give me a view of the trains coming down there. We can even get a bit artistic and imaginative and have the view coming up a bit. So I think I like this rather than the hillside with the valley. And yes, I know most of the time I'm going to be operating the train standing up, but I've got my stall there, and just to sit down and watch the trains come round and over the top there, I think I had a bit more interest. Now I just want gentle curves, and I also want it to form in the landform. So here it comes down, and then that curve has got to be kind of similar, but then come back up again to then take in the next tracks at the back here. As lots of other modellers say, it's a case of fitting the railway into the landscape rather than the landscape into the railway. So that's the kind of thing, is to play around here and get the curves right and everything. Now at the back here, what we're looking at is this flat board at the back. This will have a road that comes somewhere in the back here, and then round, and then that comes off here, and then to have the buildings in this top corner, maybe a few more, I don't know yet, maybe on both sides, again I don't know yet. I had thought of turning the buildings round, so instead of having the fronts onto the road, have the backs and then the road right away in the corner, and have the backs of the buildings, which I thought would be something a bit different. You don't see many people model the backs of buildings. So that was one idea, but I'm up and down. I quite like the amount of detailing you can get on the front of the building. I know you can on the back with drain pipes and different windows and sheds and lean-tos and whatever else, but I still like the idea of the amount of detail you can get on the front of the building. Anyway, the other side of this is a bit high at the moment, between the height of that board and the track. I want to bring the level down. I might bring it down on a slope all the way from there, or if it is level here, to stop this slope, or start the slope by the road and then bring it down, so I haven't got either a drop or too sharp a hill coming in now. I don't want it to look false again. Anyway, the idea is that after that the road will follow round. It comes down the back here and onto a bridge, and this bridge will have two mounds, slightly different heights on it, but that will bring the road down then, and then through here, and then join into the fiddle yard, the estate manager's yard. Now I want this to be a bridge and not a tunnel, because although I want to lose the track at the back which goes down into the helix, this one at the front I want to look like a branch line. So at the far end here I either want buildings or trees, a little woodland or something hiding that, but I want to be able to glimpse the trains going up and down that slope to make, as I say, make it look like a branch line going off somewhere. So that's kind of the idea. The other thing is, while I'm scooping around here, is that I've brought this hill up quite high to here. Now, the only side of that is I built this church a few years ago, and I would really like to use it. I don't know if you can see it, but it is detailed inside, and I'll put a couple of pictures in on that. But this was originally going to go, I had this baseboard here before with some scenery on it, and there was a flat bit with a nice little path coming up, and then the church was going to sit on the top. So I might still look at putting the church there, which means I won't have that hill obviously that high. It will come down at a lower gradient, which might work as well. We're not in Wales. This railway isn't actually based anywhere, but apart from the fact that it's got rolling hills. And then the other thing I've got to work out is at the back here I've got quite a big gap, because that originally was so I could get stuff, drop stuff down the back of it. But because I'm taking the houses here to the back, I'm probably going to fill in this area here somehow as well, or have the backboard here come round and curve slightly to join it in. I know there's a lot of sayings as well about you shouldn't have corners because the sky doesn't have corners, but again this shed is so small, if I bring round a curved back seam there and another one there, I might be able to do it. I don't know, it's just there's not a lot of space, so to lose the space on that curve might just be a step too far for me. I might just keep it there, put a big tree or something in the back there to hide the kind of gap. The other thing is, before I do too much more, I've got to do the back scene. Now on the back here, because obviously you work towards the back scene, need to get that in, and then I can do the hill and the groundwork up to it. Now what I've done this time is I've got one of the ID back scenes, self-adhesive back scene pictures, so we'll give that a go. Now what we had around here, and I'll bring you round slowly so I don't want to make you giddy or sick. At the back here there's still some of it here, and hopefully you can see, especially in that corner, it's just peeled off and it's all bubbled, and it got so bad I've taken off the rest of the back scene there, so I've got to replace that at some time. Now I've put it onto this mounting board. It's a plastic that they use for exhibitions and stuff, and I thought wallpaper paste is not going to work. I've just got you caught up on a bit of timber there, so I put a good quality mount spray, one of these spray cans of the mount spray on there. I did both the board and I did the back of the paper, the actual back scene picture, as per the instructions. Let it go tacky, and then stuck it down and really got my wife's rolling pin, truth be told, and made sure it was as flat as possible and got the air bubbles out. But as I've said, I'm in the shed. It gets damped down here in the winter, and that back scene there peeled away. Now what's above it, this black, is self-adhesive, and that stayed on there, so that's why I'm hoping that to use a self-adhesive back scene down the back here will work. If it does, what I'm then going to do is get one for the other side, but the other side I've got the river going off scene about 3/4 of the way down, and I used the Pico back scene for that one. I keep using the word back scene, but that's what we're using, and that had a little river estuary on it, so the river flowed off and into the distance. I can't find one of those with the back on the self-adhesive back scene, so what I'm probably going to have to do is get some sort of photograph and try and manipulate that and stick it on myself, and that's going to be an interesting thing because I've never tried that before. Right, let's turn the camera around. Right, so there we go. That's what my ideas are for this area here. As you can see, I've taken all that cardboard out of the way just to tidy things up a bit. I know what I want to do here. I think I know what I want to do here. Plans always change, don't they? So what's the next? What's next to do? What's the plan to get this all in place? Well, I've got to do the back scene. The back scene's got to go on first, because obviously you build your scenery up to that back scene. If you build your scenery up first, how do you get your back scene in? Whether you're just sticking it onto a wall, or whether in my case it's going to be onto plastic sheets and then screwed to the wall or whatever, you need to get that in place and build your scenery up to it. Otherwise it's just going to be a nightmare trying to get your back scene on. So the back scene's got to be done. I'm going to kind of jump away from the norm here as well. I've got this cardboard former in the front here, and I quite like the curves and the way that's come out, and I could play around with it a bit more, but why? You know, this is what I think I want. So as I say, I'm going to break away and jump the gun here a bit. Now normally we put these plywood fascias on our railway towards the end of when we've done our scenery, and that's to protect the foam or the plaster of Paris or whatever we've used to build up our landforms. But because I like this curve so much, what I'm thinking to do is cut this out of plywood now, put it in place, and then actually mould and sculpture my hills to fit this this profile, if you like. So I want to get that done. The other thing I want to do is get the road cut out and put in place, so I know exactly where that's going, and again then I can build the scenery up to the road. And then the other thing I want to do is the bridge, which again I'm going to make out of plywood. The reason for that is I want to get a structure in place and then put an embossed brick plastic card on that, probably the Pico stuff. It's just going to be firmer and more supportive than just just making it out of this brick stuff like this, because these are the embankments, but this is quite flexible, and I think it's going to need something behind it to make it a bit more substantial. Now when I cut this template out, and I can't find it at the moment, it's under here somewhere, I just basically put curves for the tunnel. So what I've got to do is just do some alterations on that to get the proper profile of the bridge openings before I cut it out of plywood. But again, I'm going to mount that in plywood. The other thing is all the scenery will end, and I'm not sure if this will pick up. This is the estate manager's yard board, and what I want to do is be able to lift this out in future, so if I need to get to the helix underneath, I can get access to it. So all the scenery will finish on this line, and then there'll be something here, a brick wall or something, to act as a break and to hide the join, if you like. So that's the plan, is to do the back scene, which is going to have to wait a few days. I need to do that on the kitchen floor. Today's Monday, the wife is out on Wednesday, and the dog's out on Wednesday, more importantly, so I can stretch out on the kitchen floor in the warm and the dry and make sure that all sticks down properly. So that will be on Wednesday. So I can get on with the road, and I can get on with the bridge and the fascia here as well. So I'm going to get those done, and I'll get back to you in a minute. As you've seen, I've just cut out the fascia, which is now in place here. It finishes on a straight line at this end because this is the board that's going to be lifting in and out. So I can build a little hill up here, and then the crack or the join that will go across here I can hide up with a hedge or a wall or something like that. And then down at the other end I've left it proud at the moment. As I said, I'm not sure if it's going to be this high or take it down to this level so I can get the church in there. When I was talking about this area earlier, I said it's not in Wales, and then kind of left it at that. What I meant was it's not a mountainous area, but it is rolling hills, so it could be placed anywhere in Britain really, even the Chilterns, which is where I live. Anyway, so the fascia's in. I've not nailed it in place just in case I've got to take it out and move it around for bits and pieces. So that won't be permanently fixed until all the landscaping's done in here with the foam. Now the other bit you saw me cut out was the bridge section, which I've done in 3mm, so it's flexible enough to bend. But it's one of those things, you get this idea into your mind, but it's only when you start to make the parts and start planning how you're going to do it that you realise that it's not quite as easy as you thought. So I've put the cardboard former back in there. I can use 3mm ply and I can bend it round to form this shape. But where this joint is, and it might be there or it might be further down the curve, it depends where and how I position this bridge. What I'm worried about is that because this section's going to lift out and there's going to be a cut, if I've got that cut where the curve is, that's quite a tight curve, and I'm worried about it springing. Doesn't matter how much I glue it or nail it in place, there's still that, especially with the plastic card cut on top of it, you know, will that ease away? So what I've decided to do now is to make this in one unit, or a module that can lift in and out, because as I say, I've got to move that so I can lift this in and out, and I think it just make it firmer. So the next video will be the start of the bridge being made. Now when I was thinking of this as well, this end I've got to work out how the road connects to it. That made me think that the road at the moment, I was saying about having this at the back. If it's too far at the back, it's going to be right up against the back scene. So you've got the road and back scene, and the join between them, or the transition between them, is not going to be very neat or very pretty, and it's not going to work for me. So what I've got to do is bring the road forward a bit, and then between the road and the back scene is put a little bank in it with some hedges on it, or a wall or something, just to give it a nice transition from the road into the back scene rather than just a straight cut off line. Then, once I've worked out where that's going to go, I can then do the template to go around for the road here. And I've had some more ideas. While I've been cutting the wood outside, I've been having some more ideas about what to do with this village and the church. So we'll get onto that in a future video. For now, the next video, as I say, will be just to get this module started for the bridge. Okay, so as I say, time to wind this video up. It's been good. I've enjoyed today. Getting back in the shed, it's taken a while to do. Last year, with all getting bogged down with the electrics and losing my confidence with things going wrong, the old anxiety levels came up and I just couldn't face it. And even with the break over Christmas, getting back in the shed, you're going, oh, I want to get down there today and do something. And then you think, no, I'll do it tomorrow. And then, no, come on, let's go and do it. No, I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, I'm one of those people that used to think that anxiety and stress were just excuses to get a few weeks off work. No, it's not. It's so debilitating, and if you've been through it, you know exactly where I'm coming from. Anyway, we're over that hurdle for now. We're down here, we're enjoying ourselves, and we've got plans, which I'm excited about, and that excitement will now carry me forward. So the next couple of videos will be on doing the bridge. I've got to work out what materials to use, how to do it. I know I need to do some sort of formers inside, but it's getting the shape of those formers, because you can't do them flat because they're going to need to be at an angle, especially the road surface. So how do I get that so it still fits in after I've bent it through? That'll come clear once I'm doing it, once I show you what I'm up to. Once I've made it, I've got to paint the brickwork, which I've done before, not a problem. I've got to do the mortar lines. I can't do mortar lines. I've tried so many different techniques, and sometimes it gets there, sometimes it doesn't. So that's going to be interesting. I'll do some practice and try some different ways of doing that. And then once that's done, I want to weather it, which I've never done on brickwork, so that's going to be interesting as well. So there's a little bit of excitement coming up there, and planning and actually building it. It's going to be quite interesting. One other thing I forgot to mention is just back in October time my laptop died, and because it died I couldn't get into my hard drive, which had the video clips on it to make up the videos, which is another reason why there was quite a break between May and this one for the videos to come out. A friend of mine did tell me how to get the information back off the hard drive, which I tried. Now I got a lot of stuff off, and thank God I got my wedding photographs off and a lot of holiday photographs and other bits and pieces and files. Some of it's just gone. I don't know what I've done. Did I push a delete button? Did I push another button? It's just gone off into the wild blue yonder. I don't know, it's gone. I will try to get it back, but I'm not confident that I'm going to find it. So, thank you for watching. It's been good that you've kept up with me and keep watching me even after this long break. If you've got this far as well, the quiz is next. It lasts for about 30 seconds, so it's not going to take up much more of your time. If you want to go at it, just put your answers in the comments box below, and we're looking for which railway it was, and if there's a locomotive in the clip or the picture, just try and put, you know, which locomotive you think it was. And then on the next video we will just quickly run through that and give you the answers. Not that you'll know them, because you're all a lot more clever and more knowledgeable about railways than I am, so you won't have a problem, will you? Wittering on again. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye for now.